Hi there, this is Quinn, and welcome back to QuinTech. Well, thanks for coming back on my latest journey. That's what I call them. These are my journeys into the past. Ooh. But this is my latest retro video, and thank you for coming along. I appreciate your patronage. Thanks for watching my video. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever you decide. This is YouTube. The world decides who they like or don't. And the world is my oyster, too. Anyway, honestly, I really don't give a darn what you think. I do these videos for myself because I'm having fun. This is my hobby. I'm not getting paid for this. And I like all these old retro systems that I'm showing off to you. And in this video, I am going to be showing off my HD video converter, which I don't know if it upscales, but it converts VGA video and plus the red and white audio plugs, RCA plugs, to HDMI. So that's what this is about. It's about that. Plus, it's about my little Dreamcast little mini game. My Dreamcast VMU mini game called Pinta Quest. It allows you to save these little mini games to your memory card, which is called a VMU, Visual Memory Unit, and it basically looks like a little mini console, but also you flip it around and you plug it into your controller. You plug it into the controller of your console. So this becomes like basically almost like a little mini console. It's just got this little black and white LCD screen game. It basically allows you to build up gold, like currency, to buy new items in the actual RPG game, which is called Skies of Arcadia, and it's a great game. I'll show that off in my next video, most likely my 50th video to coincide with my 50th birthday. Anyway, I'm only like a week and a half, 2 weeks off, so it's a nice coinky-dink, as they used to call it. It's a coincidence of events, a convergence. Anyway, so that's what I'm doing on this video. I'm showing off my HD converter, which you plug into the back of the Dreamcast and converts your video signal to HDMI so you can plug up to your modern television. And then this thing, which is a little mini, you can download little mini games onto your VMU, which stands for Visual Memory Unit, on the Dreamcast. And I don't think any even previous or even more modern consoles ever had anything like this. This was a very unique item, a very unique product, a little LCD mini game that you download from your Dreamcast game, your full-fledged game that plays on the console. You plug this into your controller and you can download this game onto this a VMU, visual memory unit, and then it becomes its own game. Look, it's got. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? It's got its own D-pad. You got your A and B button. You've got the select and start, and those allow you. And this originally came with a little plastic cap I could put on the top. I don't know what happened to all those. I might still have them somewhere in some box, but I can't find them right now. But this game allows you to build up some gold, possibly some experience that you can transfer over to the real game on the console. And this was just the memory unit. So that's kind of a neat concept. And I don't think any console before or since has used this concept. So it's very innovative. That's what I love about Sega. They're very innovative, and they had a future idea, or they tried to look into the future and see what the next big thing would be in consoles. Unfortunately, sadly, they failed miserably. And this was not a success. This was an epic failure on Sega's part. In fact, it brought down not the entire company, but the entire company's hardware division. They stopped making hardware after the Dreamcast came out. But at the same time, they were being very innovative. They came out with the VMU, which is basically the memory card that you plug into the controller that plugs up to the console that interfaces with the actual game that you have running. And it was a quite interesting thing they figured out how to do. It's too bad it didn't work out. I wish it had. I wish Sega was still a console maker today, but they're not. Nintendo has held on, but they had to go niche. They had to go to the handheld niche with the first they had the Wii was a huge hit. The Wii was a huge hit. Everyone, even grandmothers, wanted to play Wii Golf and Wii Tennis and all this motion control crap. And then they came out with the Wii U, which most people snubbed their nose at because apparently it was a big failure. And then after that, they have moved on to the Switch. First they had the Switch, then they had the Switch Mini. Now they're about to come out with another Switch or something. I don't know. I've switched off a long time ago. When they said it was called the Switch, my brain switched off. Like a light switch. And I'm still back in the 90s. With the Dreamcast and the VMU, Virtual Memory Unit. This small little black and white LCD screen that doubles as your memory card, which you can also save a mini game to, and has like a little D-pad looking thing, plus an A and B button and a start and select. And what else does it have? Well, it had like a little side-scrolling shooter game. I think, but I can't get it to work in this video. But I hope you like this. Oh, did you hear that? I must have held the button down too long. I screwed something up. Well, thanks for coming along to my video. I appreciate you. Welcome back to Quintech Retro. And again, I always appreciate all of my subscribers. Even if you don't subscribe, even you just watch it. You don't even have to like it. It'd be great if you liked it. But just watching it alone adds to my channel. And thanks for coming along. And you take care. Love ya. Mean it. Alright. Good night. Hi guys, this is my cheap Chinese knockoff branded components. This HD video converter converts VGA and left and right audio to HDMI, and it does require a power input. There's a 5-volt This is the power input, the 5-volt power input. It's right there. Very simple. It is HDE, some knockoff brand from China. And then this is the cord that goes into the back of the Dreamcast and outputs VGA and the left and right audio through RCA jacks. And these all plug up here. They plug up into this little small box and output through an HDMI port, and you gotta use this power cord. You gotta plug that in. You got your 6-volt, your 5-volt, and you plug that, and that's your output. So this is my standard Dreamcast setup. As you can see, I have my 2 standard controllers. I do still have that third Mad Catz kind of 6-button kind of knockoff controller, which I do like, but these are the original controllers. You got your 4 buttons, and then 1 shoulder button there, 1 shoulder button there. Those are analog, so depending on how hard or soft you click on them, that determines how hard or soft the action happens. And of course, depending on the game. Some games, even the softest action will just be a standard bam button click, but other games may be a little bit more sensitive and can detect how hard or soft you are pressing on those. And then it's got the analog stick here, you got your D-pad here, you got your 4 buttons here, you got the A, B, X, Y, and I think this is C and Z. I don't know what they stand for. These also have the VMUs, Visual Memory Units. Memory unit meaning your save games. You save your games to these memory units. Visual meaning this LCD screen. So, this particular one, and you pull it, it's upside down, and you pull it out, and then you turn it over. This one, I believe, is the one that came with my game. It didn't come with. I saved my mini game. You can save mini games. If you have a game in here, some games allow you to save mini games to this. And the mini game I saved on here was from Skies of Arcadia. And it's just this little LCD game. And it's very simple. But if you have batteries in here, which I do not currently, I need to unscrew that and put 2 new RC2032 or whatever those are called disc batteries in there, stacked on top of each other to give it enough power to work. Will give me the game that came with Skies of Arcadia, which is this little simple game. Like I say, it's an LCD, black and white LCD screen, and you can go, this has a little D-pad on it. You go left and right, and A and B, and you got your sleep and mode buttons. You can play this game, and you can't do much with it, but you can go around, and you can beat some enemies or something, and then it builds up experience points. And those experience points, later, if you build up those experience points and then plug this back in here, and then load up your game, Skies of Arcadia, and once it boots up, you can go into some menu screen and be like, oh, you have all these extra experience points that you earned via this VMU game. So you can transfer those experience points back to here, which helps you build up your experience on this game to get to the next level, or at least get the next gadget or weapon or whatever it is. It's an RPG, so that's how these work. You do a few things, and then you got to go through these little battles and stuff, and as you do these battles, it builds up your experience, and then your experience allows you to progress in the game. But you can actually progress your game playing this little VMU game, which is kind of a neat concept. I think the Dreamcast is the only game system that ever did that. Tell me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the Dreamcast, the Sega Dreamcast, the very last console that Sega released in 1999 in the US, I think it came out in 98 in Japan, is the only console that I am aware of that ever used external, just the memory card built in to, strangely, the console, instead of plugging it built into the controller, instead of built into the console, allowed you to build up more experience points and then return it back to the actual game. So it's a neat concept at the time, and that's one of the reasons I love this system, because they were very innovative and came up with a lot of new ideas that modern console users never even heard of or even had a shadow of an idea that this even existed prior to, until this whole retro scene started, and now everybody wants to go back and play all these old games. I want to play PlayStation 1, I want to play Dreamcast, I want to play Sega Saturn, I want to play Super Nintendo, I want to play Sega Genesis, I want to play Master System, I want to play all these old games that were never available on these newer systems, but you used to be able to do some interesting things even on the original hardware like this. So let me go get some batteries and put them in this VMU and see if I can start up this game, because I'm pretty sure it's still saved on there. I think the game itself is, even if the battery dies, the game is still there. I think it's saved on some kind of flash memory, some early flash memory that we don't even know that exists nowadays. I think the game is still there. Let me get a couple of batteries. You got to stack them, two batteries on top of each other, so it gets enough voltage to start up this game. All right. Well, I'll be back in just a second. I hope you're enjoying this. All right. Goodbye. And this hand thing. This hand signaling thing. It's fun. All right. I'll be back in a second. Bye-bye. So here's Skies of Arcadia starting up. I do need to get a replacement battery for the... It's a rechargeable battery, similar to the CR2032, but it's a rechargeable battery that you have to replace inside the actual console. I don't have one yet, so I have to reset my date and time every time I turn the console off for more than like 10 or 15 seconds, but it doesn't hinder the gameplay or anything. I can just set that. So here's the beginning of Skies of Arcadia. When you first turn the game on. This game was later ported to the GameCube, and I think it added a few extra levels or features or something. But the Dreamcast game is awesome on its own. I would like to get a GameCube at some point, but they're rather expensive now, so I don't know if I ever will get one, but I can always play those games emulated on my PC. The Dreamcast for the time was a pretty impressive system. The newest system prior to this was the Nintendo 64, which it's debatable whether the original PlayStation or the N64 had better graphics. I think the N64 graphics were a little bit clearer. But speaking of graphics, I'm using this HDMI pass-through from my VGA connection, and I think it looks pretty darn good. Way better than composite. So that was the little opening video for Skies of Arcadia. I hope you enjoyed it. And this music is kind of reminds me of like Mozart, I think, or whoever that was. It's not exactly the same notes, but it's very similar. And this was, I think, developed by Sega. Sega in collaboration with this other company called Overworks in the year 2000. And that's the same year I bought this system, and I'm pretty sure I got it for $50. I was going to make an offer of $100, but I said, well, how much do you want for it? And he said $50, and it came with like 8 games, all 3 controllers that I own, both the Rumble packs and 2 of the VMUs. I think the 2 colored ones I purchased later after purchasing the system. And I kind of wish I had held on to all the games I had originally bought, but like I say, back in the day when you had games, you would like play some games, and some you weren't as fond of as others, so you would take them in and then trade to a game store, and you would get credit towards buying games for other newer systems. So I sold a lot of these for Neo Geo Pocket games and for even some other Dreamcast games. So, and all my Saturn domestic games I ended up selling in trade towards mostly Neo Geo Pocket stuff. And they didn't give me very much value for what I had originally paid for them. Although the Saturn games I had gotten pretty cheap because I bought them during their closeout after the system kind of failed in the US. But I did hold on to most of my Japanese games, because those are the better games anyway, for the most part. There were a lot of good US games for the Saturn, but we're not talking about the Saturn, we're talking about the Dreamcast. And I hope you like this, the clarity of this video. This is just me pointing my cell phone at an HDMI TV, and not even like, this is only 1080p. This isn't 5K or any of that fancy stuff that I can't afford, all that new expensive stuff. But I think the clarity is pretty darn good. So I guess I will be moving on to my next section of this video. But thank you for coming along, and let's take a pause, and I'll be back in just a minute. Alright. Quintech Retro, you take care. So I am taking heed of my own advice. If you don't want these batteries, which I just replaced with brand new batteries, to drain off within like a week or less, then if you have this plugged in, into your controller and the system is turned off, make sure you unplug the controller from the system, or unplug this from the controller, and then it won't drain the battery as fast. So, like I say, this is a little LCD game similar to those Pokemon, or I forget what that other one was called. I talked about it in my last video. I can't remember. Anyway, you start the game by you turn on the game by pressing sleep. Then you get the visual memory unit, excuse me. You press A. You have 19 blocks free for saves, but 0 blocks free for games, because it already has this game on it. Arcadia. 2013 is when I guess saved this to this VMU. So let's see if we can start the game. It's hard to do this and film it at the same time. I should have tested out how this works. Let's see. What does this say? What does that say? At Corey? Maybe? Oh, copy. Okay, I thought it said Corey. Copy, delete, yes or no. No, I don't want to do that. Let's hit B. Let's go back. Mode. Okay, you hit the mode button. It's visual memory unit. Oh, and then that selects this lower. Okay, I see. Visual memory unit. Well, it won't let me select anything. I know I've played this in the past. Pinta Quest. Press A and B. And here's Pinta Quest. And I think it's sort of like a vertical shooter type thing. Oops. Item, gold, map, status, Pinta Quest, level 1, page 2, item, 0 items, gold. I have 200 gold, so I guess you don't gain experience, you gain gold, which lets you purchase items in the actual game. Or, excuse me, 20G. I got 20 gold. Wow, I must have played this a lot back in the day. Not. And the map. And this is kind of cool. It shows a little map of the actual game. If I can get this to focus. And you can sort of scroll around here. It's not perfect, but this could be helpful if you're lost in the actual game and you need to know where to go. That could be quite helpful. All right, B. And sound. What does sound do? Sound on or off? Okay. So now it makes little beep noises. Yeehaw. Status. How did I get down to that select earlier? It's got a timer. And I can't see what that other icon is. It's so blurry. Let me fiddle with this for a minute off camera, and then I'll come back and hopefully I can show you the actual game. Alright? So I'll be right back. Okay, take care. Okay, so I fiddled with this for a couple of minutes. I haven't figured everything out yet, but you go to sleep to turn it on and off. You go to mode to select between these modes down here. But this one is not selectable. I don't know if it's just this particular game or I'm not at a certain part of the game that I'm allowed to select. I don't know. But that's just your kind of your stats or your info on the actual visual memory unit, what you have. So you have 19 free, game 00. So I saw this earlier, it said Arcadia. That's the first game, but if you keep scrolling and it shows the date that you originally saved that game. This was a while ago, apparently, 2013. But then if you keep scrolling down, CDX, I believe that was the the Game Shark 4 or a Game Shark replacement for the Dreamcast. We've got Grandia 2. Got, what is this? Arcadia OM. I don't know what that is. Maybe that's the Pinta Quest game itself. LDX code. I don't know what that is. Con data. But you can kind of go in and look, and most of these are 2036. Okay, that one's kind of a little weird. So it just kind of shows what you have on the VMU, what save functions you have. So then you hit mode, and then you go to the second one, which I believe, since it's a little card, I believe this is the gaming mode. You press A, and it loads, boots the Sega logo, and the Overworks, and the Pinta Quest game logo, and it says press A and B, which I do. And then it shows you this kind of neat little LCD little animation. Sorry, this is so jumpy. I'm trying to hold this with my bare hand. The camera is in a tripod, but I don't have a tripod to hold this. I guess I should have just put it down on a flat surface with a good light source, but anyway. So then okay, then you get to this menu, which I showed earlier. This just shows your current status. And I don't know if this is a Pinta Quest status. I'm only in level 1. I have 2 experience points. B is back. You go to item. It shows your items. I have 0 items. You go to gold. I have 20 gold. Wow. I've really been pumping out the gold. And then you got the map, which isn't that dynamic. You can scroll the map, see what the map looks like, but it's like so pixelated and not very detailed. You can't really tell what you're supposed to be doing. And I thought if you hit the A, it would zoom in on the map, but it just goes back to this menu. And that's all it does. So, and then if you hit mode again, oops, you go to this, which looks like a clock, which guess what? It's a clock. This, since I put these batteries in here about 2 months ago, has lost about 8 minutes of time. So it's really 2:03 right now, but this is just a clock, and if you hit this, then it'll show you the date, and that's the actual correct date today, 14th of September 2021. And I think that got set because I set the time and date on the console and then plugged this into it, and it recorded the time and date. So that's just a little clock. It's nothing special. I can't get it to do anything different, really. It just shows the date and the time, which again, like I say, is 8 minutes slow. But and this little animation of these little dogs or horses or whatever those are supposed to be. So that's all I've been able to figure out on this system. If you hit mode again, it skips over this option, which either looks like an exclamation point or an I for info. I don't know. I can't use it. So maybe either I gotta progress in the game a little further to be able to get to that option, or only certain games actually that is a selectable option. But anyway, that's the VMU. I wish I could show you the actual game play, but I can't quite figure out how to do it. I'll go online and look at that and research that, and maybe I'll shoot another video later. But for now, that's all I wanted to show. So let's hit sleep, and turns back off, or it goes to sleep. Okay. Well, that's that portion. All right. I'll be back with the next portion.